Malcolm Brogdon has been the hottest topic on the trade block since I can remember. And the Indiana Pacers are currently transitioning into a slim rebuild. The decision-making within the front office should align with the direction of the franchise this offseason. And as a result, the Pacers should be willing to offload Malcolm Brogdon in a timely manner. Now, we all know the same song and dance. Years of mediocrity. Indiana is suddenly taking a different approach to constructing its roster. One that's prioritizing the long-term future over a win-now mentality. It ignited before last season's trade deadline when all-star forward Domantas Sabonis was traded to the Kings in a deal that returned huge dividends with Tyrese Haliburton. The youth movement is in full effect in Indiana. They shifted their focus to building around Haliburton, Myles Turner, and the young talents such as Duarte, Oshae Brissett, Isiah Jackson, and that 6th overall pick in 2020 NBA draft. Now, it really wouldn't surprise me to see the organization part ways with experienced veterans that would essentially help teams that are committed to winning now. The 29-year-old floor general, Malcolm Brogdon, would be the first that comes to mind, and there will certainly be some interest in his two-way services. Injuries have been a common concern for Brogdon during his 6-year career in the NBA. But listen, he's proved to be an excellent ball handler, intelligent facilitator, consistent scorer, and a reliable perimeter defender when he's healthy. The 2016-2017 Rookie of the Year will provide huge value to any team's backcourt. The Pacers are going to hear any and all offers for Brogdon this offseason, especially if they draft another guard such as Purdue's Jaden Ivey or Kentucky's Shaedon Sharpe with their upcoming lottery pick. So let's get right into it with the 5 potential suitors that could be interested in acquiring the effective point guard. Trade suitor number 1. The Washington Wizards should be looking for an experienced point guard this offseason to pair with star Bradley Beal. And recently acquired big man, Kristaps Porzingis, baby. The organization is seeking a return to the playoffs, and Malcolm Brogdon could be the answer. With Washington still being under pressure to build that contending team around Beal, and this upcoming season could be their last attempt at convincing their stellar guard to stay long-term. Beal is going to face that $36.4 million player option this summer, and if he decides to decline it and leave the franchise in free agency, Washington will likely trend toward the rebuilding stage. Now, at the moment, the only point guard on the roster is 33-year-old Ish Smith. That's not good. And the Wizards, they thought they had Spencer Dinwiddie, and then that he would complete the floor general role last summer. But after an uncomfortable fit, Dinwiddie was sent packing before the deadline as part of the Porzingis trade with the Dallas Mavericks. Acquiring Brogdon from Indiana would be a realistic scenario given the Wizards' current values, salary matching flexibility, and assets. Washington can entice the Pacers with young prospects or draft picks, and they could use the expiring contracts of KCP and Ish Smith to match salaries. Brogdon would actually make sense for the team that's desperate to win now and clearly needs to fill the void at point guard position. If Bradley Beal decides to extend his stint with the Washington Wizards, Malcolm Brogdon would be an attainable trade target to accelerate the organization's win-now approach. Another potential trade suitor for Malcolm Brogdon could be the Sacramento Kings. The Kings are aggressively searching for ways to upgrade their roster in an effort to break the team's streak of 16 consecutive seasons without a playoff appearance, which happens to be an NBA record, you guys. As the Kings hunt for options, they can help them leap over the hump. Brogdon would be a beneficial target given his availability, skill set, and his fit. The Kings already have a cornerstone point guard in 24-year-old De'Aaron Fox, but Brogdon could complement him as a combo guard that can effectively score the ball, provide more playmaking, and defend at a high level. Brogdon also has solid chemistry with the star forward Domantas Sabonis from their recent time together in Indiana, and they formed a productive offensive duo, especially in those pick and roll situations. Now, I'm not saying Sacramento should replicate the strategy of the Pacers' past roster construction, but taking pieces from their former playoff roster and building more off of it could be something of interest for them. Plus, they need to figure out how to make up for that terrible trade with Haliburton going back to Indiana. Now, the Kings possess future assets, and they are reportedly willing to shop the 4th overall pick in this year's draft. If they could include that pick in a deal for Brogdon, though, it would be a way too big of a stretch. And the Pacers, they would effectively finesse them once again, similar to that Haliburton-Sabonis blockbuster deal. Now, there's certainly some familiarity with these two front offices. The Kings could pursue Brogdon in a sign-and-trade deal involving the 25-year-old Dante DiVincenzo, who will be a restricted free agent this offseason. Brogdon would be a realistic trade target for Sacramento. As long as they don't sacrifice any of their most valuable assets, and since Brogdon is on a hefty contract at $22.6 million per year, the Indiana Pacers could be open to offloading him at a low price for financial and cap space reasoning, which would work out ideally for the Sacramento Kings. Coming in at number 3, the San Antonio Spurs. If they prefer to speed up their rebuilding process, they could become a suitor for Malcolm Brogdon in the trade market this offseason. With head coach Greg Pop nearing retirement, the Spurs could be interested in making another playoff run before that legendary coach calls it a career. The Spurs have some encouraging pieces to build around, such as all-star guard DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and 3 first-round picks in this year's draft. If the Spurs got Brogdon, that would form a productive backcourt duo with Murray on both ends of the floor. And he also served as an ideal veteran presence and a leader in that locker room. Brogdon would certainly fit the Spurs culture and system of Popovich. San Antonio could offer draft picks or Indiana native 22-year-old Romeo Langford to entice the Pacers in a potential deal while including that $12.1 million expiring contract of Josh Richardson. If the Spurs want to increase their chances at all playoff appearances moving forward, pursuing Malcolm Brogdon has to be priority number 1. This next team could throw you for a loop. It's going to be the Atlanta Hawks, because they're actually preparing for a major shakeup within the roster this offseason, and acquiring Malcolm Brogdon could be a step in the process of their summer plans. Following their first-round postseason exit, the Hawks are expected to make significant changes heading into the next season. And outside of rising superstar Trae Young, anyone on Atlanta could be available for trade. After reaching the Eastern Conference Finals in 2021, which was likely this core's ceiling, I'll be honest, he was able to space the floor as a catch-and-shoot threat and create easy buckets with all. Brogdon could provide similar value to the Hawks and efficiently coexist alongside Young in that backcourt. If Atlanta wants to reconstruct this roster, Brogdon would definitely be a viable trade option for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, coming in at number 5, I've got the Utah Jazz. There has been some talk of Utah parting ways with one or neither of their 2 stars. The focus of the offseason should be reshaping the supporting cast. Now, it's highly unlikely that they would part with both, but it seems more likely that they would prefer to keep Mitchell over Gobert unless a trade is requested. Evidently, the Jazz can't reach the ultimate goal with the roster that's currently constructed, which is absolutely insane. Utah, they've got to strengthen its rotation, and it starts at the point guard position. Mike Conley struggled mightily this past season and was abysmal during the team's first-round postseason loss with career-low averages of 9.2 points and just under 5 dimes on 33.3% shooting and a whopping 20% from 3. The Jazz should definitely look to move on from the 34-year-old guard. And as they look for a better replacement, Malcolm Brogdon could emerge as a favorable option. Brogdon would be an upgrade over Conley across all aspects of both ends of the floor. Additionally, Brogdon and Conley earned the same salary at $22.6 million per year, which leaves salary matching in the potential deal would be the simplest option. Utah would have to have extra assets attached, such as draft pick or 2, and perhaps it could turn into a multi-team trade. But a deal involving a swap between 2 experienced point guards is certainly possible. And this leads me into today's question. Which one of these trade suitors do you think would be the best fit for the Indiana Pacers and Malcolm Brogdon? In my opinion, the Utah Jazz. It just seems like a no-brainer. They're able to salary match and swap for a huge upgrade for the Utah Jazz at point guard with Malcolm Brogdon. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And tomorrow, we'll be back better than ever with some more Indiana Pacers basketball. And just like you all Pacers fans know, I'll save y'all a seat. Peace.